Welcome to the Compassionate Systems Framework Inquiry Team presentation. Here we will showcase how our 8 schools use the structure, systems, and tools learned to engage our school stakeholders and impact our school's culture and instructional model through amplifying and activating our constituent voices. Once our team was assembled after attending the Compassionate Systems training with Peter Senge, we reviewed the 10 different tools that we could employ in our school communities. Among the 10 tools and strategies, most of us centered on how we show up, the systems thinking iceberg, and the generative social field. We all agree that if we continue within this inquiry group moving forward, we continue to explore and further utilize these tools to build upon our work. Our problem of practice involved creating a system to cultivate, curate, and activate the various constituent voices within the school community to promote collective change for a positive climate and culture and promote academic progress and performance for all students. Our inquiry team advanced learner agency by using evaluation, reflection, feedback, MTSS practices, classroom discussion, transfer strategies, and inquiry-based practices. Our theory of action states that if school leaders provide students, parents, faculty, and staff with systemic opportunities to use voice and agency, then teachers will be able to respond more effectively with various stakeholders to foster a student-centered learning environment, and students will be able to demonstrate their ability to communicate effectively with adults and their peers to take ownership of their learning and school experience. We used the District 31 Panorama School Survey data to identify current leading indicators and have lifted the current lagging indicators to establish baseline data to be used to measure our collective impact. Once the new 2022 to 2023 learning environment data is available this fall for further review and analysis, we'll use that data and feedback to measure and assess our impact. Let's now take a moment to hear briefly from each of our 8 schools to learn more about our collective journey. Thank you.
This year, Staten Island Tech used the Compassionate Systems Thinking Iceberg with all 9th and 10th grade students. I met with these students as part of a focus group series where Mentimeter was used to give students voice and choice in reaching a consensus on what event that positively or negatively impacts their success in school. Once an event is determined, we conduct a discussion to identify the patterns and behavioral dynamics, as well as the mental models and artifacts that reveal the underlying structure which shapes the behavior causing the event in the first place. We uncovered challenges around transportation, punctuality, the impact on grades, and the perception that workload is still a challenge despite the changes we've made in the past. To identify the root cause, an academic wellness survey is being administered to all students to discern more information around travel and workload challenges to determine if this is more so a time management versus a workload issue. When we've employed focus group work in the past, it's helped us identify a need to shift from traditional to project-based learning. This work will continue into the next school year and inform our instructional, climate, and culture work.
Thank you, Mark. Well said. And yes, PS42 is doing similar work, utilizing the Compassionate Systems Iceberg Protocol to address an event in our school. Our event focuses on rigor as to why students are not engaged in rigorous learning experiences at all times is basically our event. And so as a practice, we started this iceberg protocol with teacher leaders and assistant principals, and we're able to drill down throughout the iceberg and surface underlying structures and mental models, as well as artifacts, as to why this practice is not even. We did the same protocol with our teacher teams, led by teachers, with teachers, and it revealed a great deal of data. As a result, we utilized the 2 data sets to alter our practice and move forward. At this moment, all teacher teams now and teachers receive actionable feedback at least once a week, focusing on student engagement. We used our advanced and walkthrough data, as well as our data sets from our iceberg to drive our professional development. We noticed that growth mindset is indeed a focus area, and so this tool helped us tremendously. As we move forward, we'll continue iceberging with all cohorts of teachers, as well as sharing the data sets with school leadership, teacher teams, and eventually including it in our data presentations to our families. Joe, And now you from the Petriti School.
The Compassionate Systems Framework is a combination of systems thinking tools often used in school settings and leads to the development of a compassionate mindset in stakeholders. The aim of the framework is to grow compassionate integrity in students and teachers, to have alignment between how we think, feel, and act by virtue of an ever-unfolding awareness of interconnectedness. This year, our work focused on strengthening established practices to ensure a supportive environment for students. In our unique pre-K through 12 school, we continuously amplify students' voice and use feedback from them to enhance best practices. We connect stakeholders by conducting teacher focus groups, student focus groups, parent focus groups, administrative walkthroughs, instructional rounds, and student-led rounds. These conversations between members of our learning community provide opportunity to gather meaningful feedback. This feedback has led to changes both in and out of the classroom as we reimagine the student experience so that it is aligned to their needs and desires. Connecting through compassionate systems structures has made the Petriti School a great place for students to live, learn, and grow.
This year, Curtis used the Compassionate Systems Framework to connect our work with IB approaches to teaching and learning, the IB Learner Profile, and the Supportive Environment Framework. Our CEP goals in the areas of student social-emotional support and personal attention and support were the drivers behind making these connections. The basic aim of the framework is to grow compassionate integrity in both students and staff. Compassionate integrity refers to alignment between how we think, feel, and act by an ever-unfolding awareness of interconnectedness. Compassionate Systems tools have helped to deepen the focus of PD plans and strengthen the collection of authentic feedback from student focus groups in pursuit of compassionate integrity, which is essential to nurturing the attributes of the IB Learner Profile. Teachers learned about co-generative dialogues. Student focus groups used shifting the burden to propose fundamental solutions to problems of practice. And the three-legged stool served as a frequent reminder of the value of reflective conversation, something also driven home by Principal Caffelli. Finally, Compassionate Systems thinking and sensing has guided the transformation of physical spaces at Curtis to become more student-centered, welcoming, and supportive environments for students, staff, and families.
Since my Compassionate Systems training, I have reflected on how I have grown both personally and as a school leader. As a leader, I lead with compassion and have become comfortable with making myself look vulnerable. I have also learned to pause to consider someone's mental model before engaging in a difficult conversation with them, which leads to better outcomes. I have an appreciation for the importance of SEL for adults as well as the students and have made school-wide changes to incorporate mindfulness activities into our daily school life. Personally, I think twice about how I show up to an event or even enter a room and recognize that how I show up affects the generative social field of the space I am in. I have also become more cognizant about operating out of assumptions and habits. Moreover, my stress level has decreased because I am more equipped to show compassion without experiencing sympathy pains for others, which used to take a toll on me. I have utilized many of the tools I have learned about during my Compassionate Systems training. My inquiry group this year has been very helpful in how I formed action plans to address my student, teacher, and parent icebergs. I've learned so much from my colleagues visiting their schools and engaging in discussions around our focus area.
Over the past few years, with all of the disruptions to the school system, our school community became very disillusioned. PS30 used the Compassionate Systems Thinking Iceberg to come up with solutions to the problem. We focused on 6 goals of Compassionate Systems. Empowering students. We worked with staff and students to elect a student government and create a Civics for All committee. The committee decided they wanted to use the funds to benefit all the students in our school. They hired an artist to paint murals, and they also purchased inspirational vinyl stickers for doors throughout the building to make the students' days brighter. The PTA and student government rehabilitated our school library. The students worked with the PTA to plan and execute the grand reopening of the library. Combating loneliness, compassion, check-ins, and connections to others. During morning arrival, when students are waiting in the auditorium, they sing songs, dance, celebrate birthdays, and play trivia with their teachers. Students who arrive upset about something have an immediate counseling session with admin. No One Eats Alone is an initiative that originated during Respect for All Week and has now become a daily ritual. If a student sees someone eating alone, they join them or ask them to join their group. We also brought back Take Your Parents to Lunch Day for parents to experience lunchtime with their kids. Meditative practices. In addition to mindfulness in the classroom, we created the Zenden. This space is for students and providers to practice mindfulness. Students can visit with their teachers or during their lunch periods. All students complete an entrance and exit ticket in the Zenden. As a school community, PS30 continues to work on finding fundamental solutions rather than symptomatic solutions to any issue that arises.
Our work with the iceberg began with our school community setting sail towards PS69's event. About 40% of students in grades K through 5 are performing on or above grade level in ELA.
Knowing that our teachers plan rigorous lessons, differentiate to meet the needs of our students, use data to drive individual conferences and small group instruction, assist students with setting goals and having a say in their learning, and truly taking the time to get to know each student well in all capacities, then why is it that we are only achieving 40% of levels 3s and 4s in ELA?
Our first voyage with this event docked in the teacher's cafeteria with the administrative cabinet and core instructional team.
From there, the journey continued into the children's cafeteria, where the entire staff swam into different groups to participate in this iceberg.
Our last voyage, but not our final, was into some of our classrooms where random groups of students were given the opportunity to contribute their ideas around this event too.
Our family and final voyage is set to sail at the onset of next month, where all crew members will have had a safe harbor to voice their feelings, beliefs, and/or opinions when it comes to increasing overall student performance in ELA, while also recognizing the fact that we are not as anchored in excellence as we had hoped to be in 2023.
This school year at PS32, we use compassionate systems tools to promote student voice and improve our school culture. So we thought if we have more student choice for recreational activities during lunchtime, then we will have a better social interaction with our peers.
If we take a lead role in assisting other students during recess, then we can motivate our younger peers to take leadership roles in their own classroom.
If we had the strategies to problem solve during simple lunchtime conflicts, then we would have more positive relationships with our peers throughout the school day. So we created generative spaces to find solutions.
We surveyed students using Mentimeter and Google Forms. We used the Compassionate Systems Iceberg tool to identify structures and behavioral patterns to achieve our positive lunch environment, and discussed how it impacts our school culture.
Wait until you see our results in action. Now we have more activities and equipment, additional mindful moments, a conflict resolution toolbox, and much more.
Finally, we had such a successful experience that we are continuing our generative spaces using compassionate systems tools for other student perception surveys on SEL and instructional programs. Next year, student-focused group members will be invited to instructional team meetings and will participate in instructional mounts. Thank you.